Hi, Dr. Bose. Hello, participants. My name is Michelle Drake. I'm with the Marin County Office of Education. Welcome to day 5 of Wellness Week Marin. This webinar is being recorded. It is also being simultaneously translated into Spanish. Thank you to Marta Bichon, who was our amazing interpreter. Hola y bienvenido al Semana del Bienestar al Marin. Este webinar se está grabando y presentando en inglés y se traduce simultáneamente al español. Gracias a Marta Bichon, que es nuestra intérprete esta tarde. So for all the Wellness Week events, this is our final session before the celebration, which is this afternoon at 3 o'clock. You're able to track your progress of everything you've done this week so far, whether it was attending a workshop, taking a walk, practicing meditation, mindfulness, cooking with a family member. There are a number of ways to integrate wellness into your daily lives. So I'll make sure to put that tracking sheet in the chat. I will also place the Google form to enter yourself in to win a prize later this afternoon, which will be at 3 o'clock. I just want to say thank you so much to our sponsor, Kaiser Permanente, as well as our partners, Marin Health and Human Services and Redwood Credit Union, for making Wellness Week Marin possible. So today you have joined the 14th session of a total of 15 sessions. We have Dr. Bidyut Bose here today. He is the founder and executive director of the Niroga Institute, and he is going to speak to how we can create a plan to make it sustainable and integrated into our daily lives going forward all the time. Take it away, Dr. Bose.
Thank you, Michelle. Pleasure being here and welcome everyone. And so as we come to our 14th session, let's take a moment and go within. A mindful moment to start with. Coming up, sitting tall yet relaxed. Bringing our attention to our own breathing. Eyes and mouth, chest and abdomen, neck and shoulders relaxed and softened. Breathing naturally, perhaps adding a bit of rhythm to slow down our exhales, possibly even a bit of abdominal movement as we breathe in, gently pushing our bellies, our abdomens forward and out. And as we breathe out, gently pulling our abdomens in towards our spines for deep and rhythmic belly breathing, perhaps. Feeling each breath, watching each breath, watching each thought, each movement of our minds, breath by breath, moment by moment. And as you continue this bit of slow, deep, deliberate, mindful breathing, one more layer of mindfulness, one strike of this chime, listening with our fullest possible attention for the very last trace of this fading sound. Thank you all. I have a very short PowerPoint deck, and so I'll bring that up now. And at any moment, if you have a thought, comment, or question, please feel free to type into the chat window. So give me a moment as I share screen. So you can see the title slide, I hope. So the idea, as Michelle said, is now that we've explored the 8 dimensions of wellness, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and more, how can we bring this into our daily lives? Not just learning mindfulness, not just doing mindfulness, in addition to everything else that we're doing in our terribly busy lives, how to start to live mindfully. So this isn't just about yet another line item in your overfull to-do lists. As we talk about integration of the 3 kinds of the 8 dimensions of wellness, let's step back and also look at the 3 parts of a dynamic mindfulness practice that you've been tasting for a bit in mindful moments. We have three parts to each one of us: the cognitive, the emotional, the kinesthetic, the thinking, the feeling, the doing part of us, head, heart, and hand. And so, just as we're trying to integrate dimensions of wellness in exactly the same way, we find that if we're able to integrate across the three parts of each one of us, then we're able to process information more optimally. We're also able to self-regulate. It's like the key to self-efficacy, to self-mastery, is there in this integration. And so a three-part practice is what dynamic mindfulness is all about. We call them ABC. A, mindful action, moving our bodies to be able to release some of the stress, the trauma, the issues that we hold in our tissues. B, breath regulation, changing the way we breathe to be able to change the way we feel. It's a key to self-regulation, to emotion regulation. And then C, centering, centering our minds in the present as opposed to allowing it to shuttle off to past or future. So three simple verbs to remember: ABC, act, breathe, center, enables information processing and emotion regulation. We also talked about a mapping between the 8 dimensions of wellness into the 4 quadrants of the dynamic mindfulness wheel, where we build stress resilience so we are overwhelmed less often and function more optimally more often. That allows us to build some self-awareness, a little distance between, say, I am mad and I feel mad. A powerful emotion, but a little distance between the witness of that emotion, the feeler of that emotion, and the emotion itself. And as self-awareness starts to develop, then emotion regulation starts to happen, where we can choose our response. We can act rather than merely react. All these three are happening on our inside. That integration of the A, the B, the C starts to help us pull ourselves together in a direction of comprehensive wellness. And then in due course, the interpersonal comes in as well. Our relationships start to shift as we have a little bit more of a sense of empathy, interconnectedness, interdependence. And so in this way, going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, around and around and around this wheel, we propel ourselves towards self-efficacy, towards self-mastery. I've also shared with you this tool, a product that we have, which allows us to self-regulate. Mindful moments, incorporating these ABCs to help us move from stressed to relaxed, from anxious to calm, from distracted to focused, and more. Many of these we have tried so far. Why don't we take a moment and once again experience 2 of them? Let's come up standing if you're comfortable. I'll push my chair out of the way for a moment, and we try to do a little bit of the dynamic twist right here in the energize column of mood shifts. So feet are apart, a stable base. You're turning at your hips over to the right and then over to the left, leading with your hips and following through with your shoulders, going back and forth from side to side. Your arms either resting at your hips or gently swinging out, adding as much speed and power and momentum as you like. And now let's add the breath, a quick exhale at each end. A bit of an energizer perhaps, and as you get the rhythm, perhaps breathing like that through the nose. Back and forth a few times, and then slowly reducing our oscillations, coming back towards the center. Now let's come back sitting. And even as we sit tall, like we did when we started, let's try sun breaths, releasing excess energy when we're either really mad, really upset, angry, or perhaps worried and anxious. And so the idea is resting your hands on your lap, perhaps, or on a desk in front of you. I'll bend my elbows a bit more so you can see my hands. And as you're sitting tall yet relaxed, as you're breathing in, gently curling your fingers into tight fists. And as you're breathing out, a gentle opening up of your fingers into receptive palms. Breathing in, fingers curling, hands turning into closed fists. And breathing out, fingers uncurling, unfurling, hands opening up into receptive and open palms. Back and forth a few times at your own pace, aware of what you are doing, feeling, and thinking, just as you're doing it, feeling it, thinking it. If you like, you can add a little layer of meaning into the mindfulness and the movement, a third M, if you will. And so as you're curling your fingers and turning your hands into fists, asking yourself, what am I clinging to? What am I holding on to? What am I clenching so hard? And then as you're breathing out, perhaps thinking about what you are letting go, what you would like to let go. What judgment, what criticism, what expectation. And so it's your meaning, not anyone else's, that you imbue this bit of mindful movement with to catapult this practice to a whole different realm where it becomes part of your life, part of who you are, part of a way of being. Relax and release as we slowly come back to neutral. And then one more strike of the chime, pulling us gently back as fully as possible into the immediate present. Thank you. And so as we look at the next slide, a little implementation plan. How can you take mindful moments throughout your day? I already mentioned that, yes, we want to learn about mindfulness, movement-based mindfulness, dynamic mindfulness, trauma-resilient mindfulness. But then we start to practice it regularly, and then the question becomes, how do I live it? My challenge to you isn't, can you do a bit of mindfulness every day? It's more like, when are you not mindful? And so a simple framework for you to think about, perhaps. First, just thinking about on your own, whether you're at home, at school, at work, inside the house, outside the house, 1 to 3 times where you're doing 2-minute mindful moments like we just practiced. A total of perhaps 6 minutes a day is what the research is showing with thousands and thousands of people, that it seems to make a distinct shift in brain and behavior with a bit of practice. And once you start to think about this as a SMART goal, what am I going to do? When am I going to do it? Where am I going to do it? Etc., as well as the why. Then perhaps you'll be able to develop a regular mindfulness practice. And then you can think about the second part of your life. When you are with others, whether online or in person, same idea. 1 to 3 2-minute mindful moments that you start to sprinkle your day with, which starts to help get those 8 dimensions of wellness, physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and more, optimized, and really a part of who you are, moment by moment, breath by breath. And so you can think about whether this framework will help you create your own dynamic mindfulness plan, your own wellness plan. And then from there, just closing with this last slide, where we're working on not just a poster, not just a set of videos, but working on an interactive, beautiful mobile app that is getting ready to release in about a month, where you'll have dynamic mindfulness with you in your pocket, a practice in your pocket at all times for anyone, anytime, anywhere to reach for the practice. You can do them standing, you can do them sitting, you can make your own playlists, choose your own favorites. This app will help you create, develop, and sustain and deepen a regular daily habit of mindful moments. And finally, you can track your mood shifts, your emotion regulation, and say, are you less reactive? Are you a little bit more calm? Are you a little kinder, a little gentler, a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more empathetic? Our behavior will be the guide, the metric to show if the practice is having its desired impact, as it has for thousands of years in every culture throughout history, across time. And so that brings us to the end of our time together. I want to wish you all the very best as we come up on the holidays, to take these 8 dimensions of wellness and see how you want to integrate them, little practices moment by moment that will help you pull all of this together that Marin County Office of Education and its other partners have tried so hard over this week to expose you to be able to improve the health of an entire community, an entire county. What a beautiful idea. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you and to Michelle for pulling all this together and coordinating all of it that's involved in such an event. Thank you very much.
Dr. Bose, it was a pure pleasure having you join us for Wellness Week Marin. And really, the what I've noticed about your presentations throughout the week is the idea of what is missing. And I think that if we can identify what is missing from this mindfulness moment, for example, in my life, where isn't there mindfulness? And how can I take a step back to be present in that moment, which is sometimes so challenging to do. But as we practice it, it becomes more and more like the daily mental hygiene, like brushing your teeth.
Right. Absolutely, Michelle. So true.
So thank you so very much. It's been wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you to our participants who have joined. We can't wait to see you today at 3 o'clock for the celebration. Um, If there's any last minute questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, be well, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all and take good care. Bye now and happy holidays.
Thank you.